Well, another day, another WVU football roster update. Let's talk about today's changes. What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome back into the Country Roads Webcast. Here today for our April 17th roster update. No, you're not mistaken. We did just release one on April 16th as well, but that's how fast and furious these changes are coming, as we know of 4 more players that are now departing West Virginia. So we'll take a look at each of those, what position they play on the WVU football roster, and take a look at what's left remaining at that position as the roster currently stands today on April 17th, always subject to change, and as more changes come about, we'll bring you further roster updates here on the Country Roads Webcast. But before we get into these 4 names, just want to give you guys a quick reminder. If you would do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button on the video. Giving us a like will really help with that crazy YouTube algorithm, which will help this video find more Mountaineer football fans like yourself. And if you are one of those that hasn't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date on this ever-changing West Virginia football roster until it reaches its final version there in the fall here for the Rich Rod 2.0 era. You can also throw your thoughts in the comments there, whether it be on the departure of any one of these players or the roster as it currently stands. I always appreciate those actions as well here on the CRW. So with no further ado, let's pull up our transfer tracker list. We'll scroll through the full name of transfers out till we get to the bottom here and talk about the 4 names that we're going to be highlighting here in the April 17th roster update. All right, so those of you that have been following the roster updates here throughout the offseason are familiar with this list. It's now grown to over 30 names. But of course, if you guys have been following along the Country Roads Webcast throughout the spring football practice sessions, I told you guys at that time, once I'd counted up the roster and started tracking the roster, that it was going to be somewhere between 30 and 40 people that had to leave the West Virginia roster due to the roster limits, and of course, them wanting to bring in new people in this new transfer portal window. So falling right in line with that already. And we're going to talk about these 4 here at the bottom. That's the most recent additions that happened just in the past 24 hours or so. So let's start here with offensive lineman Gavin Crawford, which, funny enough, here is another early enrollee that just came to campus, got here for the spring, went through spring practice, and decides to depart the Mountaineers. Couple of those, so it shows, no one is safe here with these transfer adjustments here, these roster adjustments, whatever you want to call them. You've seen early enrollees head out, Gavin Crawford being one of those. You've seen guys that the staff brought in the first transfer portal window head out as well here in the second transfer portal window. So you never know what's going to happen in today's day and age, but that's one reason we do these roster updates. In the NIL and transfer portal era, a lot of people find it hard to figure out which players are going to be on their favorite team. Well, if you want to know who's going to be on the WVU football team, you'll know each step of the way till we get to that final version in the fall if you just stick with these roster updates here on the Country Roads Webcast. So with Gavin Crawford's departure, let's pull up our roster tracker and take a look at the offensive line position. All right, so here we are at offensive line. We can go ahead and remove Gavin Crawford for now, which leaves us currently, like I said, haven't split these up. This is just a full group of offensive linemen, which you can see a little light to go across the whole O-line. I expect more change to happen here. I especially expect West Virginia to bring in some more offensive linemen in this portal window, but I don't know if we're done with departures quite yet either. But left remaining currently, you got redshirt senior Tykeist Crawford, redshirt senior Kimo Makaneole, redshirt senior Walter Youngbear, Xavier Bosley, a redshirt junior, another redshirt junior and likely the starting center, Landon Livingston, redshirt sophomore Nick Cray, redshirt sophomore Wyatt Minor, fellow redshirt sophomore Cooper Young, a redshirt freshman that just transferred in, and Robbie Martin. Then you have a true freshman, Brandon Homedy, who did enroll early. Him and Gavin Crawford were the 2 early enrollees. Homedy remains the last one standing for the time being as far as the early enrollee offensive linemen go. Then you have a few former walk-ons in Raymond Kovaleski, Griffin Fogel, and Andreas Hunter, who are all currently redshirt freshmen. So that's how the offensive line position stands following Crawford's departure. Let's talk about the other 3. Next up, we have what was the most surprising to me out of this batch here, and that's Noah Braham for multiple reasons. Number one, we just talked about the tight end position in yesterday's roster update, and I thought that where West Virginia had it would be where they would keep it, but this certainly means you'll be seeing more tight ends added in this upcoming transfer portal window that has just begun. And it also was surprising because, Rich Braham being a legacy here, having a relationship with Coach Rodriguez, thought maybe that would give Noah Braham some favor. But, not playing favorites. We're trying to find the best players on the roster. And we also don't know if Noah Brahma decided to depart on his own, which is also a possibility. But either way, he's transferring out of the program here, leaving the tight end position. So let's pull that back up and see where it stands currently. All right, so tight end, we will remove Noah Braham from the roster, which leaves us only, for now, Greg Genross, Jacob Barrick, and Colin McBee, which Jacob Barrick was kind of the de facto starter in the spring, if you want to go with that term. We know Greg Genross has great size, really talented. Colin McBee, the former walk-on, works really hard. So that's what you have right now is that trio at the tight end position. We know West Virginia wants to use multiple tight end sets this season, so you can definitely expect to see West Virginia add a tight end in this transfer portal cycle as well. So with the look at the offensive line, look at the tight end, have two more positions to look at here following a couple more departures. Next up, we followed the one that was the most surprising with the one that was probably the least surprising for me in this batch, and that's quarterback Abe Fenwick, a former walk-on at the position. Just knew when West Virginia had, so many numbers left at the quarterback position, and a couple of those guys were former walk-ons. I kind of expected to see at least one, maybe both of those guys depart. And definitely we have seen at least one of those guys now in Abe Fenwick, the quarterback, leaving the roster here, one of the latest ones to transfer out from a skill position here. So let's pull up the quarterback spot and see what we're left with now on our roster tracker here on the CRW. All right, so at quarterback now, we'll take Abe Fenwick off the list, which will leave us with 6 names currently at the position. You also have Max Anderson, who will be enrolling over the summer. Like I said, once the enrollees, the signings, both the freshmen and the transfer players that haven't made it in yet, once they're added and officially enrolled, we'll add them into this roster too as well in future roster updates. But left at the quarterback position, of course, redshirt senior Jalen Henderson, redshirt junior Nico Marchiol, fellow redshirt junior Max Brown. Then you get a couple freshmen, redshirt freshman Khalil Wilkins, true freshman Scotty Fox, who we spoke highly of this spring, and then the other former walk-on redshirt junior Scott Keene remains on the roster as it stands currently. That's what the quarterback position looks like. And then one more transfer to talk about here in this April 17th roster update, and that is linebacker Ricky Williams. Yes, the former Saints running back. He had come back to WVU and was going to play linebacker. No, I'm kidding. But that's always the comment that you get when you talk about Ricky Williams with the same name there. But never really got a chance to see him play at WVU too much here. Saw him play a little bit in the spring, but before, he got a chance to really reach his potential, he's hitting the transfer portal and going to find a new destination to try and reach said potential. But Ricky Williams leaves the linebacker position. It's the last transfer out we've got to talk about here on our April 17th roster update, which means we got to look at the linebacker position, and then we'll scroll through the entire roster so you can get a look at its current state here, a snapshot of it on April 17th. All right, so here at linebacker, we can remove Ricky Williams' name now, which will leave us with, I believe, 6 linebackers as well. If you want to count the bandits, there's 8 there, but we only have 2 bandits remaining. Your 2 bandits, Braden Siders and Curtis Jones Jr. Here at the linebacker spot, you have, a lot of experience up top there with redshirt seniors Chase Wilson, Reed Carrico, and Caden Beiser. Then you have a junior and Ben Cutter. The UNC transfer, Ashton Woods, is a redshirt freshman, and early enrollee Michael Hasty remains there as a linebacker position as it stands currently. And speaking of how it stands currently, let me go ahead and scroll through this entire roster so you guys can get a look at it. If you want to pause your screen and take a better look, you certainly can. Like we always say on these roster updates, subject to change at any time. As you see, this roster update coming, only 24 hours after the previous one, so already changed a little bit, but a current snapshot of how it stands here on April 17th as you look through some of these names on the defensive side, and then we will scroll up here to the offensive side as well. And as I always say, we'll keep you up to date on this roster every step of the way. So that means not only these departures, but soon we're going to have guys joining the roster as well, coming from the high school ranks to signees that didn't enroll early, and of course a couple of transfers that'll be added as well. We will add them to the roster here in the near future. But that's what it looks like here as it stands on our April 17th roster update here on the CRW. And with that being said, I hope that you click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on this roster as it forms in the NIL and transfer portal era. What do you always hear fans say? Man, I don't even know who's on our team anymore. Well, if you follow along here at the Country Roads Webcast, you won't have to have that problem any longer. We'll keep you up to date every step of the way until the final version there in the fall. Throw your thoughts in the comments. Let us know how you're feeling about any one of these 4 departures or the roster in its current state here on April 17th. Whatever you got there, we always appreciate appreciate those interactions here on the CRW. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button before you head out. That helps us with that crazy YouTube algorithm, helps this video find more Mountaineer football fans like yourself. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.